Hey guys, it's Daniel. Thank you so much, and welcome to Dragonmore Gaming, where we help gamers be the best they can be. So, doing something a little bit different today, doing an interview with a good friend. So, been part of a group that's been working to just help others with mindset. So, I wanted to introduce Beaudi to you guys today. So, Beaudi, how are you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Awesome. So, Bodhi, so what do you do? What is your niche? Yeah, we're all kind of experts in certain fields. I'd love to know, like, what is your superpower, if you will?
Yes, so my superpower is now to get to the next level of health, wealth, mindset, happiness, whatever we are doing. I have always been researching how to get to the next level. And maybe this mindset that I got comes from the gaming side because I've been playing games for like a long time, and I have been playing games up to the point that I was severely addicted, which we'll probably dive into later as well. And I learned some great lessons there, but my specialty is to how to get from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible. And that's what I'm doing now. On the side, I'm helping people with psoriasis and autoimmune skin disease, which I got in a very stressful time when I was during my gaming addiction too. So on the side, I'm helping people with that because I feel like it's my duty to um, help those people as well. But my main thing is mindset and how to get to the next level.
I love that, and in gaming, it's all about getting to the next level, beating the boss, and everything. So, and so you mentioned really something interesting that I know a lot of people associate with kind of the gaming industry is that level of gaming addiction. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on gaming? So, you mentioned that you've been addicted to gaming, but you've learned stuff along the way. I'm just curious. So, what are your thoughts on gaming now?
My thoughts on gaming are that it can be super valuable. And I myself, at the time, I'm struggling to manage a gaming life with a work and study life because even just a few months ago, I deleted all the games that I have just because I struggled to find a balance with how do I play a little bit satisfactionary or what is it? Satisfactionary?
Satisfaction? Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
Satisfactory, the game.
satisfactory. That's the word I'm looking
Yep,
for.
that's I do play that one
Um,
too. Yeah.
so how do I combine that with like the work and study life? And um, but like I would love to be gaming during these times because, like we said before, the life lessons that I've learned during in the games have been so valuable. And but we need to manage it. That's why we need you, Daniel. We need you to show us like how do we balance those different aspects in life.
Yep. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, so that's so part of my thoughts on gaming. So that's why I'm so interested when I hear about that kind of work life balance and that gaming addiction, right? Is put yeah, because it seems like there is this connotation. It's either you play way too much and then therefore you stop and you don't play anymore. And
Yeah.
and so just to give you some background, like I've gone through between school and everything. I went back to school for graduate program through an MBA course, like full time, like not the night weekend thing, but like full time, full immersive MBA course. And there are times that that you want to talk about busy, right? That's different team projects and everything. I ended up having to schedule a meeting at 1 a.m. with a team for a project that was due at 8 a.m. the next day. So, and when you're like that much work to do, and I was still had time for gaming, right? So so trying to find that balance, I understand is very hard, but I feel like I've gotten something down that I want to share with people about that. And it is simply one of the simpler ways to think about it is just making sure that you're set out to achieve what you want. So it's about setting good and realistic goals, but it is about having those those tips and tricks or whatever to go fast, right? So that's I've noticed, and people have told me it's just, wow, Daniel, you crushed that. You went so fast. How did you do that so quickly? Like those are things that I've heard, and
Using
I just thought it
bots.
was normal. Yeah, I just thought it was normal. I'm like, I thought okay, and so so that's what I want to share is you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours doing these games that you can get tons of and plenty of enjoyment out of with these kind of short, efficient bursts, as I like to call them. So, so I don't know. So so that sounds like something that you were kind of interested in. So I guess is that what you're thinking about, or what it when you were in that kind of time where you were this addiction to games, what did you wish you knew then? Like, what
Yeah,
questions would you have?
yeah. At the time, just to give you guys the image, I was like spending in bed until like I would wake up around 11, 12 in the morning, sometimes 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I would just get my controller or my keyboard and the mouse, whatever game I was going to play or whatever it was. And I would just start. I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't get out of bed, and I would just start. And then around 6 o'clock is dinner time in the Netherlands, and I would start to eat. Either my mom would bring it upstairs, because if she would call me to come downstairs, it would take at least half an hour to an hour before I
Hmm.
would come downstairs and the food would
Right.
be cold and everything. Um, and then I would eat, and that would be my only meal. Then in the evening, I would snack or something. I would be eating until 4, 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. I would be just snacking and everything while staying gaming. I was gaming the whole day. I was in bed at least 23 hours a day. And what I wish to have known back then in that situation is that I didn't need to do that to get the maximum level in gaming. I played some different games. I wanted to be the best in first person shooters, in Battlefield, in Call of Duty, in all those games. I wanted to be number one. I wanted to have the highest kill death ratio. I wanted to, everything wanted to be number one. And then I had some RPG games that I played, like RuneScape, for example, which is a classic for most people. And um, especially there, I thought I had to put in the hours, I had to put in the grind to be on the top level of the gaming. So I had to be the maximum combat level and everything. And I thought that was the only way. The only way to do that was to be like gaming 70 to 100 hours a week. So I wish I had known, and that was not necessary. But it was the only way I knew it. I had nobody there to show me how. Like the online gaming was not so much. That was not so much a thing. I mean, downloading a song took like could take like a few days, for example, especially in the early days. So
Yep.
there was no YouTube out there with people showing you how to combine all these things. So I just didn't know. And if I would have known that, and that with fast tips and tricks, and that there would be ways to be a high level, to be where I wanted to be in the game without like playing so much, like not having another life,
Uh-huh.
that would have been great. I think that's the biggest one, the biggest thing I
Gotcha.
would have wanted to know.
Yeah, because that's what because now I think with things platforms like Twitch and YouTube, right? There's a lot more content out there, right? There's a lot of people playing the games, and there are some, but yeah, as far as tricks, tips, education type videos about how to do certain things, but I think it's more just here's how to do it, and I don't think there's enough people kind of teaching kind of those the kind of the behind the scenes sort of stuff where it's like, well, it's not just okay, do X and then you win. It's it's a little bit more than that. It's about these kind of frameworks or mindsets to be like, how do you look at things, and how do you go forward? How do you improve just overall? And I don't know that I've seen anybody really doing the life lesson part of it,
Yeah,
like you were
the
asking.
story behind it. Yeah,
Right. So it's simply just playing the game and having fun. Yes, but having those kind of life lessons, life skills, because like you said, when you're playing online games, right? I mean, there's that social interaction, right? So you're kind of learning how to interact with different people with different goals and mindsets, as well, right? So it's bringing all that together.
yeah, yeah. I think my growth mindset, like my mindset of going to the next level, no matter what it is, if it's health, wealth, or happiness, or whatever, it partially comes from gaming, from wanting to go to the next level, from wanting to be at the top. And I'm incredibly grateful for that, because it helped me to find a passion in life. And it made me realize like, hey, life is a game too. Like sometimes we fail, sometimes we feel like we die. We don't die in real life, well, only once, and then that's
Right.
just it, normally. But sometimes we feel like we want to die, and like shit goes down, just to say it simply, and but we get back up, and that those are the moments that we can get to the next level, that we can progress, that we can feel extra happy when we do achieve something. And
Yes.
all that is, it's the same in the games as it is in life. And that has helped me. It has built my foundation for becoming a healthy, happy person.
Right, that level of achievement that you're talking about, being, having those failures, repeatedly, trying and finally succeeding, right? That's one of the reasons, you can tell me your thoughts, but in gaming, I've noticed, right, that the more challenge the puzzle, the boss, whatever it is, the more rewarding it is. Therefore, when you finally succeed, right? There's a reason why you kind of get bored of a game if you use cheat codes and just give yourself all the power ups versus something like, try playing. Have you played like Dark Souls, where one of the most hardcore games that extreme difficulty, but therefore so much more rewarding when you can finally beat the bosses and stuff. So that's kind of what you're saying, or is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's like um, the risk reward ratio, so to say. The more complicated something is, the higher the risk the challenge has, or the boss that you have to slay is, the higher the reward as well.
Yeah.
And that is something that displays in real life as well. And something that reminds me of is in specifically in RuneScape, the game I played, the RPG. There's this grand exchange where you can trade your products with everybody else, and prices go up and down depending on supply and demand.
Hmm.
And that was the first time, like I think I was like 10 years old when that came out in the game. um, and I started to learn, like, how does a market work, how does an exchange work, how does the economy work, and prices. And actually 2 years later I started trading stocks in real
Oh, there
life.
you go. That's
And
very
that is
cool.
something, it has brought me so much. It has brought me to buying Bitcoin in 2013, which is a great thing. Like all those things all come from those games.
That's awesome. Yeah,
And that's also with so regarding that, like you say, the more difficult the challenge, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the the higher the difficulty, the higher the reward. The same applies to our economy. Like when we invest money in stuff, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. Like crypto money at the moment is very high risk, but there's also a high reward. And then there's real estate, which is lower risk, lower reward. And all that stuff, I started to understand it just from gaming. Like when I was just 10 years old, like who learns about that stuff when you're so
that's
young?
awesome. Yeah,
Um, yeah.
funny that story, because that reminds me of, I actually did economics as my undergrad major, right? So like,
Hmm.
and part of that too was coming from, playing games where it's just, you buy and sell things on markets. I played World of Warcraft also. That was another one where the auction house, right? And prices would fluctuate and change based on the concept supply and demand. And
Yeah.
so it worked exactly the same way. And so like going into even like an economics major, like it was stuff that was just already in my mind. It was just so quick to learn and intuitive because I'd played games that worked on the exact same principles. So yeah, it was very interesting. So I did want to ask too. So you mentioned, I love that you have this growth, mindset, next level thinking, and but we also talked about, almost, like we say, like almost bedridden as far as game
Yeah.
addiction. So what was, what happened? Like what snapped you out of it? I'm very curious.
Yeah. So I had a terrible situation at home. Um, my father was going through a burnout with severe anxiety attacks. So um, and my mom was working at the business of hers and my dad's, because my dad couldn't work at the time. And for me, the first thing that got me out of there was very simple. Like my dad was thinking, was having anxiety attacks and panic attacks multiple hours per day. And he just thought he was going to die all the time. And I had to be with him up to the point that I literally had to hold his hand and calm him down while I was 15 years old, 16 years old, to make sure that that he would be fine, because he thought he was going to die all the time. He wanted to call 911 or like 112 here in Europe, um, because he was feeling so bad. That was one thing. And that made me think already, like, hey, there is more to life
Yeah.
just than gaming, like stuff can go down. There is because until that I had this paradise childhood, I just problems didn't arise. So that was the first thing. But that was so severely stressful for me that as soon as my mom came home or my dad was feeling fine or sleeping, I would go back to gaming because I had to run away from those feelings. But that was one thing that planted a seed in me. Then within a few months, I got a little spot on my chest, and I didn't know what it was. I thought I'll just go to the doctor, gives me a cream, and I'll get rid of it. But no, I went to my doctor, then to my dermatologist, and they told me I had psoriasis, an autoimmune skin disease that I would have for the rest of my life. They said, you will never ever be healthy again. And that woke me up. Then I was like, wow, like I gotta change something in my life, because suffering from a skin disease, itching, seeing at it like your skin bleeding and cracking, being in pain and itching all the time, like even while gaming, even gaming wasn't enough of a distraction from that. So I had to change something. And then also because of the plan that was seeded by my father's situation, I was like, hey, I can grow myself. I can become strong in my mind, strong in my body, and become healthy. Like there is a way to do that. So that snapped me out of the gaming addiction. That made me take action and do other stuff as well. I started reading books outside from gaming. I started, like I said, I started trading stocks again around that time. Before I had experimented, but that was the time like, hey, I have another passion too. Maybe something that would be like healthier. And eventually it turned out that also stock trading is incredibly stressful. It's like similar to a first person shooter, you're like in this stressful situation, like it's either going broke or being rich, like either being alive or dying. So that didn't help me much. But I started on this path looking for my passion and how to feel better, how to be happier, and specifically healthier, because I wanted to be healthy. I couldn't be living with that skin disease, because it said you'll be much more likely to have a heart attack, like at a young age. You're much more likely to get cancer, because I had that disease. I was like, hey, if I'm gonna keep living like this, it's not gonna end well. So I had to change something. And ever since then, to be honest, to get to a point that we were talking earlier about, I didn't know how to balance that. How could I keep gaming something that I enjoyed so much? Like I could be so happy while gaming. How could I balance that with building a strong mindset, being happy outside of my gaming life and healthy as well? Um, and I've still struggled to this day. Like I said a few months ago, I deleted everything because I just didn't know how to balance it. And
Right.
that's where you come into play.
Here to help, right? So that's a so yeah, anything I can do. So like yeah, and if there's any questions, of course, hit me up. And for anyone watching, of course, if there's specific questions you have, send me an email, drop me a comment, anything. That's what my passion is gaming, right? That's I I I try to say this to others that that just simply maybe don't understand or that are not gamers, that I think gamers are some of the best problem solvers on the planet, right? When you talk about if you go into any situation and you have to try to find the way out, I mean, gamers, we do that for fun, right? All games are just puzzles to be solved, right? Just challenges to overcome. And so we just do it for fun, so therefore we have this natural aptitude for when things go wrong, how do we fix it? That's kind of the mindset that we're always in. So So that's fantastic that you're able to snap out and get to this growth mindset. So yeah, fantastic. So what else yeah, around that mindset, or I guess are you teaching now? Like, tell us, so what is next for you?
Um, well, the most important thing is also regarding gaming and mindset. It's for me like hard to combine. Well, it is not hard to combine, but they live next to each other. Like for me, it's difficult to combine them. What because with mindset, there's one thing that has for me, and I think for everybody else, the most influence, and that is how we use our bodies, like how much we move, and it can be walking, it can be exercising, it can be just a sport with friends or anything, because that helps us to get the blood flowing, to feel good and motivated, and give us more energy. Moving our body gives us more energy. And when gaming, like at least for me, I'm just like sitting like, and I look like frozen sometimes. You just see my eyes like, and my fingers like, and that's
Yep.
it, you know. There's like that, those two things next to each other, that's a really big thing. And I've noticed, like I'm a nerd, like I'm a geek. A lot of gamers are nerds and geeks, and like we're problem solvers, and we go deep on something, and like I'm proud of it.
That's
it's
what
a
I
good thing.
love, and that's what, back when I was between high school, college, right, and so we're talking 20 years ago, something like that. Even back then, it was the landscape was a little bit different because I had the same mindset too, where I was a gamer and I was a nerd and I'm proud of it. And back then, no one was proud of it. Like
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing. And then so I'm really excited that things are shifting in that way, that it's not that, like, it's not as negative of a connotation anymore. It's like, oh, gamers are nerds, but it's just kind of like, okay, you're over here, you're doing this thing, cool, as opposed to like, oh, we don't want to associate with him, he's a nerd, right? Whatever.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm glad how much it's come along, and I think there's still so much further to go, and that's what I want to start, bridging that gap between, the gaming world, the gaming knowledge, gaming skills are not so different from what you would consider real world skills, right? You
Yeah,
still interact with people, you still interact with game
exactly.
mechanics that are, like we said, supply and demand, very simple, economics, right? Is in most games, right? As far as buying and selling of goods, and then just simply interactions with people, right? So if you have a guild, if you're part of a guild, or any kind of a group setting in a game, whether MMO or even smaller multiplayer scale, you're dealing with real people, and you have to have those kind of like social skills and understand how to interact with people. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. And like the things like mindset and gaming, we can combine. It's not like, hey, there's this mindset guy, gym, vegan image or whatever we have, and then there's the gamer guy. Like, no, we can combine that if we're into the two, and that's something what I have applied. Like recently in the last few years when I started to get more into mindset, like in a lot of games, especially in like first person shooters, our reaction time is really important. Like we can do everything. We can use special screens like internet that is the fastest, like fiberglass, or what's the
fiber optic, yep,
fiber optic? Yeah, fiber optic, and with the cables inside, and we can do everything just to get a few milliseconds of advantage compared to other people in the game.
yep,
But we can also do that simply by being happy, because there are a few neurotransmitters, a few hormones in our brain that we have and that we all need. They're essential, and they are the four most important ones are dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, and GABA. And I think it's acetylcholine. It's like it functions as a layer in our nerve cells. So imagine an electric wire. It always has a rubber around it, to
hmm
send the electricity properly. So, and it's these four hormones. If we feel happy, we have enough of them. So if we make sure that we have a positive mindset, we feel good and healthy, then we have enough of these hormones and there's no deficiency. And what that does, it works like an oil, it works like a rubber around the electric wire of our nerve cells. So the connection between our brain and our fingers works more smooth, and we actually can get a few milliseconds of advantage just by improving our mindset. And we can achieve, I think it's around 50 to 100 milliseconds of advantage just by our brain signals. And like you guys know it, you can change your internet and your screen and just get a few milliseconds. But maybe even just being in a relaxed, calm mindset and being healthy, making sure that you're feeling good, can give you that advantage too. It can build on top of that in the gaming. And that is
Wow.
what I've seen. Also, I started to look at it like most like top gamers or guys who I saw, even friends of mine, I started to see like the guys who are really good, who are on top of it. And in first person shooters, it mostly comes to reaction speed and some strategy, but reaction speed is incredibly important. um, Most of them were just feeling good. They have that regular work life balance. They do some sports, they do some, that balance they have.
Mhm.
And it comes to a reason, like because they have the hormones right and everything, the reaction speed is better. And it's not essential. It's definitely not essential. But there are ways on how we can get an advantage with those things. And when we use our geek power, our nerd power, so to say, to apply all these things, we can have a beautiful combination of all these things.
That's fantastic. I love that. And that just, yeah, helps reinforce that. I mean, for anything like practice is essential, but like to
Yeah,
a certain point, right? It's kind of what you're saying, like, just simply grinding out the hours isn't necessarily going to get you there. Like, and having this mindset is what you're saying. It can, and having that balance and having that positive mindset, not only, just, your thought patterns, but, even, what do you call it, neurochemically,
yeah,
will make you faster. And that's fantastic.
exactly.
I had not
And
heard that before. That's very cool.
that is something I wish I would have known 10 years ago when I was basically bedridden. Like, I would have been a better gamer if I would have that regular work life balance. I would be having some normal sports, moving my body, at least walking or whatever, or being happy, like just being happy no matter what. Because I wasn't happy at the time. I was depressed too. So if I would have just been happy no matter what, then I would have known that I would have been a better gamer with 20 hours a week of gaming than being depressed and unhealthy with 100 hours of gaming per week. And if
Right.
I would have known that, I wouldn't have like wasted so much time trying to get better, without getting at the real issue, which sometimes is just how we feel, like, and not being happy with our gaming and always looking at the next level. I was never, even in my gaming, I was never happy because my brain neurochemically, it was not right. Because when I got to the next level, like I was happy maybe for a second or maybe not even, and I wanted to go to the next level already. And no matter how much levels we progress, even if we get at maximum level, the highest level, it's not suddenly going to make us happy if the foundation is not correct, which is just balance in our lives.
Right. No, I understand completely. It's having that level of foundation so that, when you get to that level, it truly, it means something. You have that sense of
Yeah,
accomplishment. Because I think too much of some games, especially, maybe an opinion, but there is a lot of evidence that, cell phone games, especially like the more casual cell phone games, that they really target that, the kind of that, what we talked about as far as the hormones. They target that dopamine hit, right? It's just about getting that little quick dopamine hit. So there's just
yeah,
a little bit more, and it's designed. Those games are designed for you to play at, just the right amount of intervals to like give you that hit so that you keep coming back, right? And so I think, yeah, it's very interesting hearing about, how it affects the other hormones as well, and having that, balance around it and how important that is. So that's fantastic, and that could be the subject of even another interview at some point. Is just,
yeah,
looking around,
definitely.
the gaming and hormones and how all this, balances out. So very cool. But yeah, so I don't want to keep you too long, but I just wanted to say, any other thoughts as far as, again, where you're going and working on mindset and I guess, and how can people find you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like my next thing with mindset where I'm going is that I want to like help people to get into feeling good and the happiness and to prevent problems of addiction that I have had, not only in gaming, also in eating. I am a recovering drug addict, and I've been using a lot of drugs. I have been also while gaming mostly, and I have been struggling with like a sugar addiction, like a food addiction, and all those things. And I want to prevent that from happening or help people to overcome those things and to be happy no matter what. No matter if you're gaming 60 hours a week or 10 hours or whatever, like we can be happy with that. And apart from that, to be healthy, because I don't want other people to get an autoimmune disease like me, because you're set up for a lot of problems. Because once you have it, it's very hard to get rid of, and you have to go opposite from where you come from. So I had to go from bedridden, super unhealthy, to optimal, to very low stress levels, eating good, sleeping good, exercising, having this journey to go the opposite way to recover from all the damage that I had done. And that is something I want to prevent others from getting into there. And apart from that, I am about fun. So I want to play games. I want to see people have fun, and I want to find for myself. That's my own next step, and I would love to get into that like another time also. Like, how can I go to work life gaming balance basically? For example, in an MMO game specifically, where people think there's a real grind to it, that there's a lot of hours to put into, I think that would be something great, because that is something um, like, yeah, I would really like to fix. Um, and regarding where you guys can find me, where I would love to talk and chat with any of you about gaming, about mindset, about health, about overcoming disease, whatever, you can find me on Beaudi.Idzerda on Instagram, and I'll spell that for you guys. It's not so obvious. It's BEAUDI dot Idzerda. I have a bunch of English stuff on my page. I've actually just started posting in Dutch, because I'm from the Netherlands, and so don't be right away pushed away. But there's some English stuff, and anyways, I would love to talk to you. So just shoot me up a message, and we can work something out. Maybe we can play some game together. Maybe we can talk about the mindset, or anything, or whatever. We'll figure it out. And I really see a lot of potential to indeed do another interview, Daniel, because I really like it, and I see that there is some things that we can talk about that would be very helpful for a lot of people.
I think so. I think there's a lot of synergy between what you and I are doing. This has been great. And guys, absolutely. I'll so Bodhi, yes, send me the information too. I'll definitely put it down in the description below with some links and stuff too, just to make it quick
Yes,
and easy.
perfect.
So, but very
Yeah,
good. Well, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. Just understanding kind of your thoughts on gaming, and then even overcoming this gaming addiction and being able to snap out of it with this positive mindset and being able to rid yourself of psoriasis by just getting to that positive mindset and just retraining yourself that way.
yeah,
But I love how you haven't forgot as far as some of the lessons that gaming can teach too. So it's helped some, even, but overcoming the addiction, it sounds like, and you're still at least willing and able to play games. You just because you see kind of the value in that, right? It's
definitely.
very interesting. So, well, thank you so much. Any final thoughts for the viewer?
Yes, yes. I have one last thing that I would love to close down with, and like, it's because for you guys, if you are struggling in a gaming addiction, or you want to snap out of another addiction, or just snap out some habits that you have, it's not just like, oh, hey, get a disease, like, hey, get an autoimmune disease and you'll snap out of it. it doesn't work like that. But I do guarantee you that if you are struggling with a bad habit, like life is showing you signs, like an opportunities to snap out of it. Like any form of stress and agitation that we experience is designed to make us move forward, to make a change. So if you are under stress, agitation, no matter if it's in the form of mental or physical disease, like that is a sign from life showing you, like, hey, you got to change something. And if you see that sign and you realize, like, hey, this is the sign to change something, that is where it starts. You start experimenting, changing different things all around, and just figure out what works best for you. So, stress and agitation is there for us. Like it's there to show us that there's something that we need to do different.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bodhi. So again, if you have you yourself have any comments, questions, for either of us, drop them in the comments below. I'll have an email address for my business contact. Send me questions, anything, and get and let us know if this is valuable, if this is things that you want to see more of. I think like I said, but I think there's a lot of potential here for additional interviews and these kind of work sessions. So this has been great. So guys, thank you so much. Bodhi, thank you for joining. And so thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Have fun.